Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Disassembled, your number one podcast for comic book news, reviews, and interviews. I'm your host, Ian. We know this things have been getting a little, stale over the past couple of months. So we decided we're going to do a full reboot. This is episode 0, and now we're going to have booze and butts and boobies and blood, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to be extreme.
Rippin' cool.
We don't have Dan here because he's a lame-o. But I've got Massimo the Machine.
What up, boys? Welcome to episode 0.
Episode 0. We're not doing that.
No.
This is episode 20. It is July 24th, 2021. But I did that whole bit because we are going to be talking about reboots today. A lot. We're going to be talking about it in news. We're going to be talking about it as our main topic of conversation. It's reboot central. We've taken the boots and we've done it again.
We've painted it very nice.
Rebooted.
Yep. We've booted the and it's been rebooted.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Go with that.
We keep that. Okay. Guess
you know, it was getting everything. We just want to have our nostalgia fed back to us over and over. I don't want to deal with no continuity.
Exactly.
Just fucking reboot it. Just reboot it.
Exactly. Let's bring a new actor in. Let's spice it up. Let's make it a gritty, dark retelling of the same old story.
I don't want to read those old Archie comics. They're for fuddy-duddies. Give me the sex.
Give me the sexy teenagers who aren't so teenagers. Not teenagers. They're not teenagers.
Can we, before we get into anything, have you watched? We talked about this, right? Didn't we touch on Riverdale one time?
Yeah, I'm caught up.
Okay, I'm not. I'm like a season and a half behind, but
it's crazy.
It always is. Can we just talk about for a second how even though those actors are, I don't know, 45 or something,
80 odds.
Not a day under 50. Not a day under 50. That KJ Appa.
Yeah, of course.
You know, he could play old man Steve Rogers.
Definitely.
But can we acknowledge how weird it is for a moment that we're watching a TV show where the implication, all right, the implication is that it's a bunch of teenagers getting it on, and we're just watching that. We're just watching that.
Look, the public are vile. This is the main thing.
It's the free market, you know.
Look, I'll be honest, man. People love to watch stuff like Love Island on a daily basis. I feel like Riverdale isn't that much of a. Are you aware of Love Island in the US?
No, what the hell is that? What is that? That sounds like a nightmare.
Oh, it's a dating show where a bunch of really attractive people go onto an island with each other, and it's basically like they pair up and they couple up and they can uncouple. And
so it's Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah, Bachelor in Paradise, but also it's just it's just very bitchy drama, sex.
Yeah. No, that's I've deep dark confessions. I have watched more than one season of The Bachelor.
Oh,
and
God.
It may be in my Amazon purchased shows.
No.
I had a dark period of my life. Okay,
was that your comfort show?
I wouldn't call it a comfort show. It was definitely like a hate watch sort of thing. There was no point where I was like, man, this is great, and I'm super into it. But at the same time, I'm definitely sitting there going, I want to make it clear I wasn't watching it alone. Okay, I'm not. That would be sad. Okay. All right.
Sure.
Do not watch The Bachelor alone. That's like drinking alone.
Sure, you weren't watching it alone by yourself in a dark room at like 9 a.m.
No, I have my best friend Saki with me. Saki the sock puppet.
Saki the sock puppet.
We've all met Saki.
We've all.
Hey guys, I'm Saki.
Oh, there he is.
It's me. I surely love watching The Bachelor with my best friend.
This is an audio only podcast currently because they're video editors off. So yeah, there is a genuine sock puppet on screen, and you guys can't tell us otherwise.
Definitely a sock puppet. It's definitely not just me talking out of the side of my mouth, really obviously.
Yeah, of course. Well,
this is great. We're already off the rails. So I was thinking, things are different this week. We don't have Loki. Loki's done. We're taking Marvel's Marvel's calming the fuck down for a couple of weeks until we get to what if start next month?
It's What If in August. What If August 13th,
when does Shang-Chi come out?
So it's coming out in September, I believe.
September?
September.
We should have our information before we start just
we really should
spouting off mad words. Let's see. Shang-Chi release date September 3rd. So we got about a month and a week or so before Shang-Chi. We got What If next month. We've got
What If's in 11th of August, so that's maybe like 2 weeks away.
Yeah. We've got Eternals in November. The point is, we have a couple weeks respite from Marvel, so we're not going to be talking about any TV shows that are currently airing.
Yeah.
So I think what we're going to do is we're going to save the main discussion for the back half of the show because there's some news that leads into it. Let's talk about some news first. Let's talk about some things happening in the world. Let's play the news music.
Did someone say news of the week?
News of the week. I love the news.
Oh no, the humanity.
What will they think of next? We're talking about news. All right, it's enough. I forgot how long that goes on. It really plays for a while. Let me move over to our news Google Doc. Our Noogle document. Nope, don't call. Nope, I don't like that. Never mind.
I don't know about that one. I
don't know. I tried. I don't know about that. Speaking of reboots. We're gonna say that's gonna get old really fast, isn't it?
Really
because when it gets old, we'll just reboot it. Whoa!
Yeah.
The Michael Jordan Superman project is a go.
Yeah.
This had been being talked about for a long time. Came up again with the whole J.J. Abrams Coates Superman movie that's apparently happening, but I guess Michael B. Jordan was in talks with WB for a little bit, and that kind of fell apart. And now the HBO Max people came to him and was like, "Hey, you want to make a show about Val Zod?" And he was like, "Hell yeah, I do."
So the thing is, as well as with this, is that the idea of a Superman show being on HBO Max actually probably stretches back to just after the Crisis on Infinite Earths event that happened on the CW shows.
Yeah.
Because at the time, people were speculating the Superman TV show that was going to come out from HBO Max was going to be a Brandon Routh one. That was going to be the Kingdom Come Superman. I remember that was a massive rumor at the time. And I think we might have even talked about it on this podcast at some point as well, that it was one of those things that came up. But yeah, no, now obviously, as you said, it's kind of turned into this kind of project with Michael B. Jordan, who might be starring in it, but at the moment definitely has a creative control in it.
Yeah.
We don't know officially if he's starring as Val Zod or if he's going to be part of the show in any way in acting capacity, but we know he's definitely going to be involved in some creative aspect of it.
I mean, it would certainly make sense to me for him to star in it. I could definitely imagine him as Val Zod.
Definitely. And for those who don't know, Val Zod is the Earth 2
Superman, kinda? Okay, so speaking of reboots, flashback, the year 2011, DC rebooted New 52. Justice Society of America? Fuck that shit! We got a different Earth 2. It's got sexy young heroes. So Earth 2 with the New 52 reboots had a Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, but fuck them. Darkseid kills them. They're dead. Issue 1.
Phenomenal first, great arc.
Yeah. Really good for a while until it became complete crap. Around the time that Convergence also ruined everything else forever. Yeah. Until reboot happens. Until another reboot.
Until another one. In 10 years or so, right? It was less than a 10-year period.
It was like less. It was like 5 years.
Oh my god! Rebirth was at 2016.
So here's, I will bet. And we're going through another kind of soft reboot right now, and I bet we'll have another one in another 5 years or so. So that's just DC seems to do a crisis every 5 years at this point. Maybe not anymore now that Dan Didio has been ousted. We'll talk about that. So anyways, Earth 2, the main heroes that you're familiar with die, and we end up with our kind of Justice Society of America heroes like Jay Garrick, The Flash, and the Green Lantern, whose name I know but can't
Alan
think
Scott.
of it. Thank you, Alan Scott Green Lantern, which is the first instance of what is now canonized in main universe of Alan Scott being gay. That's where that is introduced. A couple other ones. Lois Lane died and then was reborn as Red Tornado. Interesting.
Yep. It's a weird one.
We got kind of a Flashpoint-esque Thomas Wayne Batman for a while, which was kind of cool. Except unlike in Flashpoint, he faked his own death because he was deep in like a drug or gambling debt. And then when Bruce gets killed, he's inspired to take up the mantle of the Bat, but also he's an old ass man, so he has to take this drug that's not venom, but very similar to it. As far as I know, there's no side effects. It just makes him hella strong. And later in Convergence, he fucking blows himself up to save alternate universe Dick Grayson because he's out of the drug, and it's a convenient reason to write him out. Anyways, point is, a little ways through, in like the second or third arc of this series, Superman returns from the dead, allegedly as a minion of Darkseid, kind of akin to what we might have seen from the continuation of Zack Snyder's Justice League. He returns as brutal, extreme.
90s.
As a spoiler, it's not Superman. It's a clone. It's Bizarro. It's their Bizarro. Yeah. He crumbles into dust at the end. Anyways, they need a Superman to fight him. So it turns out there's another Kryptonian. His name's Val-Zod. He's a black guy. And so he becomes Earth 2 Superman. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. So that leads to other questions about this news. Like, you know, could they fold Michael B. Jordan's Val-Zod in with everything else as just another Earth in this multiverse? You know, could we see Michael B. Jordan Val-Zod meet Henry Cavill Superman, or if they get a new guy for the J.J. Abrams project, which I really hope they don't. I like Cavill.
Yeah, I think especially with all this news kind of going about with reboots, redos, all that kind of stuff with the DC universe. One thing to note as well is that if you technically count it, we've already been introduced to a multiverse, and wherein the Zack Snyder characters exist, you know, as well as Flash and stuff, through this again CW show, which kind of opened up that wider DC Entertainment stuff when they had their crisis. They also inadvertently basically opened the thing at carte blanche, as everything's rebooted, because everything now is apparently, allegedly, obviously, until DC decided to change it, is all contained within this one set of multiverse.
Yeah. They were basically like, yeah, whatever, let's give Ezra Miller a cameo, and blew the doors wide the fuck open.
Yeah.
Not just for them. I mean, I would...
Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Robert Pattinson.
Batman's.
Robat Pattinson, if you're a Weekly Planet fan.
Exactly. Yep, there you go.
We have to shout out the Weekly Planet at least once every week.
Oh, we got to. Those funny Australian fuckers, man. Honestly.
Definitely not pandering, and we're definitely not desperate for attention.
Yeah, we would. Yeah, of course not. Of course not. We're fine with our 20 views per week. We're good with that. We love that. Dedicated core audience.
We've already got so many Supermans. Brandon Ruth, as we mentioned, he put the tights back on for Crisis. Yep. We've got Tyler Hoechlin, I think that's how you pronounce his name, with the Superman and Lois show, which apparently is really good. I watched the pilot and wrote a piece on it months ago. But apparently it's continued to be really good, apparently.
See, here's the thing, is the only show that I'm up to date on is Legends of Tomorrow. And that I'm
also like I'm behind on all the CW stuff, like a year behind. Pretty much anything post pandemic, I am woefully lost on. Which there's no reason to be. I mean, pandemic. What have I been doing? Sitting at home. I could have caught up on all of it, and I have chosen not to.
It's fine. If you're not really invested in it, what can you do?
Kind of as soon as they got like when Arrow was done, I was like,
Yeah. So after Crisis, and it was
Flash is kind of. I feel like Flash is kind of spinning its wheels at this point.
Oh yeah, they introduced Marlon.
They did as Barry's son instead of his grandson, and that I don't know about that costume, man. I don't know if that silver works. It's a little garish, you know.
Yeah.
I think they should have just gone with white and red instead of the silver and red. But
or even that off yellow as well, like an off yellow one plus has. The off yellow's all right. I don't mind. I think the off yellow kind of red kind of stuff.
It could be better.
Definitely.
Anyways, Michael B. Jordan maybe is making a Val's Odd show, so that'll be cool.
I'm excited. I think it'll be cool.
That goes.
Yeah, I think that's all we really have on all the information we have on it so far. Is
it's been announced, and we managed to spin a good 5-6 minutes out of a rumor, which is or an announcement. I don't know.
Speaking of spinning 5-6 minutes out of a rumor, apparently, allegedly, Vincent, I can see you.
This is my city.
Vincent D'Onofrio is rumored to
coming back to my city,
and the Hawkeye series that is in the works over at Marvel. Seems to be a lot of names are being dropped in this thing now, and obviously, as we now know, we've got Black Widow, Yelena. Yelena's Black Widow. Oh well, actually, I don't know if you've seen Black Widow. I don't know if you have you heard about the news. I have stuff? Not. You're not really bothered about it. So
I haven't watched it yet.
Spoilers for Black Widow.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So it's a post credits scene.
Hang on. Okay. This is also our spoilers noise.
Okay, so spoilers for Black Widow. At the end of Black Widow, there's a post credit scene where Yelena, who is Black Widow's sister, is then over Natasha's grave because she has a grave. Basically, they officially canonized that she was actually have a grave and she did have a burial and stuff like that. It just wasn't shown on the film in Endgame. But she's at her grave, she's in her grave, and then Countess Valentina shows up.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously that was supposed to be her first appearance in the MCU, not Falcon and Winter Soldier. So what she says is, do you want a shot at the guy who killed your sister? And she shows a photo of Clint Barton. That's how that ends, and what people are thinking. She was rumored to be appearing in the Hawkeye series, but apparently she's like full on dead set to appear now.
That makes sense.
It makes sense. Dark Avengers, all that kind of stuff. Hawkeye, people arguably think that maybe I've heard it been taken two ways. It's like people know that what happened on Vormir and blame Clint for her death, or it's because she got hired by basically Clint, dragged her into that life.
Yeah,
that she's the reason he died because she swapped or whatever it was, that kind of stuff. But with that, Vincent D'Onofrio appearing in the Hawkeye series would make sense. And it would allow, arguably, because Hawkeye being a very street-centric hero, characters like Daredevil or even Luke Cage to appear if they decide to keep that kind of universe.
Daredevil? You mean Charlie Cox's Daredevil, who allegedly is filming reshoots for Spider-Man No Way Home?
Which links back to another episode that we did a few weeks ago talking about the possible plot leaks for that film.
Yeah, I think at this point, there's still rumors, but I feel like at this point we could probably say with some amount of confidence, we're probably going to get multiple Spider-Mans in that film. At this point, everything's pointing to it. The rumors predate Loki by quite a bit, and everything that happened in Loki just makes that entirely not just plausible, but probable.
Yeah, 100%. So Vincent D'Onofrio, who was a fantastic Kingpin, one of the best parts of that Daredevil
This
series.
is my city.
Especially in the latter seasons, obviously, and stuff like that, when he made, I think, less appearances, obviously, but was still in the show.
Yeah.
Partially.
Beating the shit out of Frank Castle.
There's another one who I really hope we get to see. I really would like to see John Bernthal come back as the Punisher.
Me too. It's just, I don't know. He would have to be in a movie because there's no way in hell Disney allows a proper Punisher series on Disney Plus.
Stars?
Maybe.
Stars. Maybe. That's the only thing I can think of is just moving it over to there because they own all the proper rights. It's like, okay, it's part of Stars, so you don't have to watch it, but you can. That's something I'm quite excited about. I don't actually know to the extent of what his role is going to be in the show at the moment because obviously it's a massive rumor at the moment. Which, big disclaimer for anyone watching.
Yeah, it could just be a glorified cameo.
Yeah. But I'm still super excited for the fact that we're getting nods to this kind of TV universe and stuff like that. And he's obviously potentially set to return and stuff like that. And obviously it matches up with all the stuff from Spider-Man No Way Home as well.
Right.
And all the kind of...
I would like to see Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin make an appearance in a Spider-Man film.
Oh, it'd be great, yeah.
That would be... You could literally pluck one of the earliest arcs of Ultimate Spider-Man, whole cloth, out of the comics and plop it down as its own Spider-Man movie. Now, granted, you would need to alter a couple of things because Peter Parker, at least right now, has no affiliation with any kind of news association in the MCU. and probably isn't going to, given
his identity go.
the ending.
I think Strange is going to reset everything though again. He's done it before in the comics in Civil War, and I feel like he's probably going to do it.
Yeah, you think we might do a Mephisto-less kind of one more day kind of situation?
It's too early to introduce Mephisto as a character, so I feel like it would be very much like, okay, Doctor Strange's like, well, you help me save the multiverse, or you help me do this, that, or the other.
I guess I'll make everyone forget who you are. Wasn't that part of the plot leaks?
Yeah, I think it was. I thought that was going to happen anyway, regardless.
Yeah,
I remember it happened in Civil War.
Yeah.
Yeah,
him and it was Doctor Strange and Reed Richards did some. Wouldn't that be a hell of a way to introduce Reed Richards to the MCU? Just be like, yeah, I know a guy who can do some stuff, and it's just, here's Reed Richards. He's gonna make people forget who you are. Like, what?
Yeah.
That's definitely not happening. And it's all still rumors and speculation at this point. I keep perpetually forgetting that they're doing a Hawkeye TV show.
I think it's going to be good. I mean, apparently, really heavily inspired by Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run. And I'm liking to see that is that a lot of obviously the runs are taking the TV show runs even are taking a lot of basis off the comic stuff, which I'm a big fan of, and I really like that. And I feel like it's nice to get some homage to it at least. But yeah, no, I think it'll be good. Could be interesting, but who knows?
And the set photos we've gotten from Hawkeye continue the trend that Marvel has finally been leaning into of people having extremely comic book accurate costumes, which I really wish, again, would follow through to the Spider-Man movies. But, whatever. My gripes are my gripes. It's fine. It's fine. You don't have to... whatever. Guess what, guys? Elder Scrolls 6 isn't coming out anytime soon. Moving on.
Oh, apparently it's to do with... it's more than that. It's more to do with... It's not coming out on PlayStation 5.
Oh, well, I mean, I feel like that was also a given.
Yeah, just a general. Yeah. It might be an Xbox exclusive now. PC and Xbox exclusive.
Folks, Microsoft owns Bethesda. Business is business.
Exactly,
I mean, I'm a little bummed that Spider-Man's only on PlayStation. I mean, it's
it's one of those things. It's exclusive. It's IP rights. It's intellectual property. It's trying to get one leg over the other in console wars and general entertainment stuff. It's going to happen.
Get a PC. Just get a gaming PC. It's fine. Consoles are so overrated. 2010.
I've seen the light. But yeah, no, that's pretty much. Woke up like a douche in the middle of the night.
Like a douche?
Douche?
Revved up like a douche?
Is it douche? Like a douche?
No.
Like a douche? No. I don't fucking know. Fucking Earth Band, what the fucking called?
No one knows what the goddamn lyrics are.
All right. Moving on.
Okay, I didn't look at this. I didn't actually take a cold, hard, objective look at these alleged GTA 6 screenshots.
Oh, they look like all beta stuff. Like there's a on the because we get a lot of our news from comicbook.com. Who are fucking pretty good with their news and stuff and general legitimacy. There's a link to a Reddit post that has a bunch of screenshots that are on. I think I can send you a link if you want to, Ian. If you can't find it, you should
I slept last night. Shut up. You're tired.
So wiki.
Well, luckily they put the link right in the thing. It's an airplane. I see an airplane. I see a map. See some beach. This is shockingly believable.
Yeah, right. I was surprised as well that it's not like it looks like it's some super bullshit. Like it looks like a beta test for a game.
Well, and I was also definitely hoping for a return to Vice City.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it's been alleged for years at this point because that's how long we've been. GTA came out in 2013.
GTA 5 is almost a decade-old game.
Exactly, and still making money and still being re-released to hell.
Has been re-released 3 times, coming up on 3 times.
It's one of the only games to ever cross the barrier between generations.
Yeah, it's a 3-generation game.
Yeah, started on 360 and PlayStation 3. Moved out to PS4, Xbox One, then came out on PC, then coming out on PS5 and Xbox, whatever the Series X, what the fuck is called.
It has not quite caught up to the likes of Doom and Resident Evil 4, but I'm
kind of feel like it might get there. So Skyrim's right behind it.
Yeah, Skyrim's been released on a fucking fridge at this point. Like,
yeah,
definitely.
Skyrim on the Alexa. Not much else to say about that. It's neat. It's cool. It's good to know that maybe GTA 6 is a real thing that'll happen. Maybe
it might happen. It may be in development. Who knows?
I want to fly the aeroplane.
Vroom.
I don't have a segue. Norman Reedus wants to be Ghost Rider, though. He wants to fly the motor air cycle.
He wants to fly through the skies a flaming skull.
He specifically really wants a flaming skull and to swing a chain around.
Yeah.
And I think if you just put him in a room and CGI'd his face to be on fire and gave him a chain to swing around and just film that for 2 hours.
I think as well, he definitely has the Ghost Rider thing, though. Like, he's got the like Johnny Blaze attitude. I feel like he could definitely do it. Like, it definitely works.
He could definitely be a Johnny Blaze that is not Nicolas Cage hamming it up for an hour and a half. Oh boy, I almost watched those movies the other night.
The first one's not bad.
It is a guilty pleasure, let's call it.
I think the first one's fine. The second one, not so much.
I think fine is generous, but
I like Nicolas Cage too much.
Let's call it okay.
Okay, there we go. We'll meet in the middle.
It's
okay.
That's a movie that happened.
Yeah.
That came out in theaters.
Under the Marvel Knights branding, by the way.
Yeah, yes. Speaking of soft reboots, what is... Oh, okay. The Shazam 2, Demon Hansu is back as the Wizard Shazam, so that's...
Yeah. I mean, they say, it's like, it's surprising. I don't think it will be. There's definitely going to be flashbacks and stuff like that to Black Adam. And also Helen Mirren's character as well. I definitely feel like it'd be stupid not to have some sort of context for the audience.
Yeah, I mean, that's inevitable. Maybe setting up as like an intro scene or something like that. But I think that is definitely kind of an over dramatized
clickbait title.
Surprising actor. Oh, you mean a major character from the first one?
Huh? What?
I would be more surprised if Uncle Ben was in a Spider-Man movie at this point.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, hey, speaking of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Jake Johnson has confirmed that Peter B. Parker, the schlubby, middle-aged, divorcee Peter Parker, is coming back for Spider-Verse 2.
Welcome return that, I think. I feel like one of the...
love that version of Peter Parker.
So good, because he's a normal dude.
He is the most Spider-Man you could possibly be.
I think one of my favorite bits of film is when he's given this dramatic thing of how he got here and what happened to him and how he's Spider-Man, and it just gets like the montage gets worse and worse, sadder and sadder, even though he's like
he's got a gut. He's just eating pizza.
God, that Spider-Man suit must smell.
Mary Jane divorced him. Like, he's just the most everyman. He is the 21st century everyman. He's broke. He's divorced. Married too young to someone out of his league. Now, granted, I think they imply at the end of the first Spider-Verse, like, he's got his shit together. So, like, they're probably back together and he's probably doing fine. But I really hope they don't do the thing that you do with movie sequels where you take the character that had all this development in the first one and you just wind it all back. Just Metroid the shit out of that thing. Hopefully not. Hopefully we focus more on Miles' development and Peter's just, there as a mentor figure. I don't really care about Dune.
Neither do I, to be honest.
And I haven't watched that trailer. It looks cool. I never read Dune. This means nothing to me.
Yeah,
I realize I'm in the minority there.
I'm the same though, but I like it kind of passed me by.
Yeah,
sci-fi classic.
It's all right. I'm sure I'll probably watch it. I don't like Timothée Chalamet's face.
Timothée Chalamet.
I don't look. It's not his fault. He did not name himself that, and I think he knows that he sounds douchey.
Luck of the draw, I guess.
I don't like his face. Batgirl apparently is still happening.
Yeah, the person
we probably should have touched on this after the Michael B. Jordan thing because it's all HBO Max stuff.
Leslie Grace, who was in Into the Heights.
Yeah.
Really good in that film.
She
Really
was
good
sure
at
in some things I've never seen.
Yep, Into the Heights, really, really good film. Pretty strong acting performance. And yeah, I think, Fat Kiddo could be great, could be terrible. Depends on the writing. Who knows?
I have not been brave enough to check the social media comments on that story.
I don't give a shit. Twitter is a cesspit, and online people are terrible.
I expect your terrible, your typical terrible responses of
she's not white.
How dare you make a black Barbara Gordon, black Rick Gordon.
Don't, Jesus
bros,
Christ.
Have you been paying attention to the Robert Pattinson film? Commissioner Gordon's black now, y'all.
So is Selena Kyla's played by fucking Lenny Kravitz's daughter.
Yeah. Also, Barbara Gordon was black in Lego Batman, a critically acclaimed movie that you probably love. So shut the fuck up.
Fuck up. Yeah, man. People are stupid. I think she'll do a great job as long as she's given a great script.
Yeah, and thank goodness, as far as I know, Joss Whedon is no longer involved with this project. We had a whole episode about separating art from the artist, but Joss Whedon's a scumbag.
Yeah, asshole. No. Anyway.
So anyway, that's happening.
Yeah. I think that pretty much covers it for news in terms of normal stuff, but in terms of on reboots and remakes.
So, do you like Dead Space? Do you like horror? You like a spooky, scary?
You like the spooky thing?
You like a spooky, scary
only ever played the third one. Yeah, I know. I had this conversation with Dan a few weeks back.
Step the fuck back, son.
Yeah.
Do you...
I've broken him, ladies and gentlemen.
Do you understand how much shit is not in your pants that should be there?
Well, guess what? It will be there
when I play
the remake. I shit my pants right now. Make up for no.
You're gonna have a chance. You're gonna have a chance to shit your pants all over again,
or for the first time. Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. Remake comes out, I'm definitely gonna play it. It's pretty much all good.
Oh yeah, that's what we're getting at here. They're remaking Dead Space. We talked about the rumor a couple months ago. It was either going to be a reboot or a remake.
Looks like a full-fledged remake they're doing. And it was revealed at EA's State of Play, I believe, or whatever it was called. The conference that happened recently. That was fully. Well, there's a teaser trailer for it. For Dead Space. Yeah, cut off the limbs. That was fucking sick, by the way.
I was talking to a friend of mine about that, and he was kind of like, I don't feel like Dead Space needs to be remade. It still holds up pretty well. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it plays all right, but like the textures do look kind of like muddy ass shit.
I think to introduce it to a whole new generation of people could be the kick up the arse that EA needs to release another one.
Well, and
release this, like a 4.
And here's the thing. It's a 13-year-old game. It's as old, if not older, than a lot of the PS2 generation games that got remade in the past couple of cycles. It's just, for me and my friend here, it feels different to us because we were already 18, 19 when that original game came out. I think I was like 17, but whatever. Like, we were young adults, old teenagers, whatever you want to call us. So we have a different feeling about that. We're not only, as the fact that it's being remade, a blistering reminder of our mortality, but it just doesn't feel as old to us as those PS2 games that came out when we were younger teenagers or little kids felt. And also, to a certain extent, 360, PS3 generation games, a lot of them have, by nature, aged better than their previous gen counterparts.
Oh man, 100%. Like, there's some games that are still very playable and very still look good and up to today's standards of graphics. Oh, yeah. Like,
I was playing Spider-Man Web of Shadows yesterday.
Yeah, it's pretty good. GTA is another one on the 360. Fucking great. Still looks good. Yeah. Like, it sounds like your console's going to take off, but overall, still looks pretty solid.
Well, there's always you can see. I mean, if you chart it going from at least in 3D graphics going from the PS1 to the PS5, that gap between what the generations look like has closed a little bit with every generation. With the PS4 to PS5 definitely being the most narrow gap of we can load things faster.
Yeah, everything looks slightly better. Ooh, ray tracing. Textures.
Yeah. Ooh. Which is why I thought the idea of a Last of Us remake is asinine.
Yeah, it's pointless.
But I mean, whatever. Secure the bag, make your money. It's fine.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at it.
Yeah. Well,
I ain't hating.
You ain't hating the games industry.
I don't hate the player. I hate the
The
game.
game. Do you know what I hate about games?
Massimo, what do you hate about games?
I hate everything that has been coming out about Activision. I hate game culture in the moment. That's what I fucking hate.
Yeah.
I love the medium, but I fucking hate all the stuff behind it, and it's something that is incredibly disturbing and distressing to see.
So I'm gonna put away my
Yeah.
I'm gonna put away my 90s cool guy. It's serious time right now. We're buckling
Serious
down.
time.
Let's talk about a thing that shouldn't happen. Let's talk about a thing that is abhorrent, and I don't know if there's extreme enough language to cover it really. So the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing has filed a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard for fostering what is being described as a frat boy culture in which female employees are subjected to constant sexual harassment, unequal pay, and retaliation for reporting this poor treatment. Reading through the kind of shit that is behind this lawsuit is harrowing. I cannot imagine dealing with this kind of crap in my workplace. And because, like, let's be totally fucking clear here, because I'm a straight white dude, I don't have to, which is a problem. No one should have to.
You should be able to go to your workplace and feel safe.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to deal with comments or grievous acts basically being committed towards you because of your gender or whatever. Like it's not right.
When you wake up in the morning and you feel your soul die a little bit because you have to go to work, well, damn it, that should just be because your job sucks ass, not because your coworkers are horrible pervs. Just,
this is where I feel like a lot of people, because you hate to say it, but there are probably people defending these guys online.
Absolutely. The Gamergate kids are still out there. You've still got the quarterings and your, just all of your YouTube Gamergate motherfuckers who are gonna, the same fucking whiny bitches that are complaining that Star Wars and Marvel are too woke, that have never picked up a goddamn comic book in their life, apparently, are the same people that are going to be like, oh, they're probably exaggerated. Like, motherfucker, a lady killed herself on a business trip because of the fucking harassment she had been subjected to.
The fact that it got to that point, the fact that someone had taken their own life, shows there is no room for harassment in the workplace of any forms, any fucking way whatsoever. But the fact that it's been going on for so long, in one of gaming
completely unaccounted for,
one of gaming's biggest and most like spotlight upon like companies. It's a big fucking company. Blizzard is a massive company, world-reaching, world-spanning fucking reach, and yet they still don't have the ability to keep themselves in check.
And they don't seem to. They don't seem to have an interest in keeping themselves in check because Blizzard released, and there's been a couple of things here. I mean, first of all, we've been kind of vague, but let's be very specific about the kind of things that have been reported here. I'm going to read directly from the Bloomberg article. A 2-year investigation by the state agency found that the company discriminated against female employees in terms and conditions of employment, including compensation, assignment, promotion, and termination. Company leadership consistently failed to take steps to prevent discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. According to the complaint, filed Tuesday in the Los Angeles Superior Court, female employees make about 20% of the Activision workforce and are subjected to a pervasive frat boy workplace culture, including cube crawls. Stay with me here.
Jesus fucking Christ.
In which male employees drink copious amounts of alcohol as they crawl their way through various cubicles in the office, often engaging in inappropriate behavior towards female employees. I'm not just talking about the occasional cat call. No, we're talking about like groping, just physical touch that was unwarranted and uninvited and non-consensual. And it's not just Activision. Ubisoft obviously has been deep in the throes of dealing with its own sexual harassment issues that it has not accounted for at all and seems to be content to ignore, which is one of the main reasons I've been kind of ignoring Far Cry 6, even though I want to be excited about it. I have a really hard time supporting that at this point.
It's because trying to distinguish between the studios makes it, and you realize all the culture behind this game and all the people that were basically harassed to shit because of it. It's like, yeah, okay, it makes it hard to support that game in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, you know that there are, I'm sure, employees who did not participate in that sort of behavior.
This isn't a blanket coverall thing. This is specifically going up against the people who were engaging in this behavior. But I still think at the same time, you still should be held accountable if you were sitting and witnessing this and watching by and not.
Oh yeah, it's like it's like with cops, right? You know, people say, oh, you know, there's good cops. Well, you know, the response to that is, if there's a good cop and the bad cop, and the good cop sits by while the bad cop does bad cop shit, that's a bad cop.
Yeah.
It's a guilt by association sort of thing.
Do you want me to pick up on that? I just wanted to point this out as well. Was the suit also points out to female employee, obviously, who took her own life and stuff like that. One of the things here as well that it says is female employees were basically chastised and made fun of for picking up their children from school, for being pregnant. What?
Just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous shit.
Being criticised for leaving to pick their kids up early and being kicked out of stuff for lactation rooms, so for obviously areas, safe spaces where they can breastfeed their children.
Right.
But by male colleagues so they could use the rooms for meetings.
Yeah.
It's just so degrading to an unbelievable degree that it's hard to fathom. It's hard to imagine. It's hard to even to take on this concept.
It's ridiculous. So we had responses from what feels like maybe two different sides of Activision Blizzard. On one side, what I feel is more the Activision side, we got basically a blanket denial. And essentially, in all but the words themselves, they essentially screamed cancel culture. They basically said, oh, this is just state bureaucrats overstepping, blah, 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 blah.
It's not cancel culture if it's fucking happening.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that felt like it was straight from the fingertips of old Bobby Kotick, to be totally honest. On the other hand, we get a couple of different responses from Blizzard's higher-up staff. We got a response from, let's see here, Blizzard President J. Allen Brack. This is from Jason Schreier, noted gaming journalista. He's real good. He breaks a lot of news. I'm saying a lot. Anyways, he sent out an email to staff last night addressing the allegations from this week's explosive lawsuit, calling them extremely troubling and saying he'd be meeting with many of you to answer questions and discuss how we can move forward. He said, people with different backgrounds, views, and experiences are essential for Blizzard, our teams, and our player community. He wrote, I disdain bro culture and have spent my career fighting against it. And I mean, a lot of this could just be placating. I have a very hard time believing that none of this was known to upper management, but maybe they are that. I mean, basically, there's no way for it to look good. Either you knew about it and you did nothing, or you are so disconnected from your employees that you were completely ignorant.
I mean, look, on a Kotaku article, ex-Blizzard boss Mike Morhaime,
yes,
said to obviously the women at Blizzard, I failed you. So, yeah, I believe what he says is, it says, well, he's been at the game company, he led for so long. He said to the Blizzard women who experienced any of these things, I am extremely sorry that I failed you, hero. I hear you, I believe you, and I'm sorry to have let you down. Again, it's a thing here of, obviously, is apologizing, right? I understand that. At the same time, how were you not aware that there was something in the workplace? with how widespread these allegations were, there must have been some sort of internal review.
Well, and
right?
let's wind the clock back to 2010, I think. So a video has been going around of BlizzCon 2010, where a female fan had questions about the regalia of female characters in World of Warcraft, specifically how they're all kind of sexified. And she kind of just got mocked about it by some Blizzard higher-ups, including Mr. Brack here. So he says he abhors bro culture, but
was part of it.
There you are 10 years ago participating in that kind of shit, buddy. It's a bad look for you.
It really is. And at the end of the day, obviously I was talking about this. We're just trying to basically put this out there. Obviously, like people should be talking about it more. It feels like something as well that recently with obviously gaming culture, it's like nice to have all these announcements and news and stuff like that. But if there was internal struggles within a company, it feels like they should be held accountable.
Man, here's the thing. I hate gaming culture.
Yeah.
I generally don't like hanging out with other gamers. I'm kind of the same way about comic book culture in a lot of ways. We've made leaps and bounds of progress in the past 20 years or so, but these are still very much industries that are full of that kind of boys club gatekeeping bullshit that I don't like to sanction.
Yeah.
We still have people who spend all day playing Call of Duty, just yelling horrible shit at other human beings and like, ha, it's a joke. And yeah, I mean, sure, but it's the kind of inappropriate humor I would maybe have with friends who I know are cool with it and aren't going to be hurt by it, but not complete strangers.
I feel like there's a difference between having friendly banter with someone and then abhorrently making them feel uncomfortable with what someone is saying. Like there's a line between having a joke with someone and having something that feels genuinely whatever it be, sexist, racist, discriminatory in any capacity. And
there's a line between taking a piss and pissing directly on your face.
There we go. It's pretty much the best way to describe it.
And it's in the Twitter sphere there have been other current and former female employees of the games industry being like, yeah, I've been there. Alana Pierce related a story on a live stream this week where she described working at a company where she was so harassed and inappropriately, touched and all kinds of shit at company functions that she didn't even quit the job. She just stopped going to work, like stopped going to that job and found somewhere else. The company was that toxic, and like that shit shouldn't happen.
And a lot of people don't have that option of just quitting and not going.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Work is hard to find,
especially in the gaming industry, and especially even for
especially right now. Yeah, with how the past year has been.
I mean, with her, with Alana Pierce especially, she was obviously part of Funhouse. I don't know if she still is, and all that stuff coming out with the Rooster Teeth group and Ryan Haywood and Adam Kovic and several other unsavory members of that group, and that was a whole massive thing as well.
Right.
But again, look, it infects other parts of gaming culture, not just game developers, but these groups of people who make content based around games. And
absolutely, how often these days do we have a prominent YouTuber end up trending on Twitter, and at this point you just kind of like roll your eyes and go, "Oh Jesus, what did they do?"
It's either something very good or something very bad.
Did they touch a kid?
Did they film in a suicide forest?
Yeah, now they're making millions off of pro boxing. Jesus.
I know. Look, and still making millions off of makeup.
It's ridiculous. It's disheartening.
Yeah, it's so hard to explain the frustration that you see, and but for someone like myself, I grew up completely into internet era where being an influencer, being a YouTuber is a kind of genuine, like it's a gentrified kind of like idolized job position.
It is the new celebrity.
Yeah, exactly. It's the modern celebrity, and people want to be that way. And as like most celebrities, these people aren't infallible, and they need to be held accountable.
And they also need to be more cognizant of the kind of influence that they have over people.
Over children, yeah, especially. I mean, look, we could talk all day. We could talk till the sun goes. When the cows go home, the sun goes down.
Yeah, with our paltry 20 viewers, and that's the thing. Look, to be real with you guys, I know no one listens to this fucking show.
Yeah,
like our friends and family, but just in case anyone does stumble upon this, the reason we're talking about this, the reason we're going on about it so feverishly, is because people need to know about this shit. And there are plenty of people playing their Call of Duty, playing their StarCraft, playing their Diablo, who will never hear about this shit, who won't read about this, who will keep supporting these companies because, not necessarily because they don't give a shit, but because they're not exposed to the fact that this kind of crap is happening.
That's it. It's less about ignoring. For some people, it's less about ignoring the problem and more about ignorance about it directly.
If even two people hear this and they're like, "Oh, that's fucked up," maybe I'm not going to play Call of Duty anymore. Maybe I'll play that new Battlefield that comes out, which looks cool, by the way.
Cool shit, by the way. Yeah, this.
That's great. It's a drop in the bucket, but it's something.
There was a really great video that I seen on YouTube, and it's a guy. He's by a YouTuber called Lonerbox, and he talked about how he was almost radicalized on World of Warcraft, a Blizzard game, mind you, by the way.
Yeah.
And how that there was people who, by 4chan, World of Warcraft, all these old school kind of stuff like that, people who, it's when the joke stops becoming a joke and it starts becoming genuine opinions and feelings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
it's very easy for that to happen.
Yeah, and as Ian says, all those 20 listeners, if there's even 1-2 people who hear this, and hearing this makes you think and look into this stuff, we can only be thankful that that's what some people do. And if this brings attention to stuff that you guys or anyone out there, whatever you are, whatever gender, whatever race, mentality, whatever it is, if it makes you understand better what's going on in the world culturally, especially in maybe games that you fucking love to play and stuff like that, we can only be grateful that it's happening. That you're able to look into it and actually educate them.
I need I don't know, man. If you're someone who doesn't understand why this is a big deal, let's just pretend for a second that you're at work. And I'm not going to say someone comes around and grabs your junk, because there's a bunch of guys who'd be like, "Oh, I wouldn't mind that." Let's pretend that you're at work and someone comes along and just sticks their finger right up your ass, just right through your pants, just goes for that oil check. Probably wouldn't be cool with that. So let's pretend that that's happening to you, and think about that for a moment. Maybe you get some idea of how uncomfortable this is. For these women.
Well, I think we've sat and talked about this for quite a while. I said we could talk about this for literally ever.
We could, which we shouldn't. That shouldn't be something that we're able to talk about forever, but unfortunately it is. These companies, when it comes down to it, final word, they need to be held accountable. Yeah. They need to not be putting out statements of denial. I don't know how this gets fixed. I don't know how this gets answered for, but something needs to happen.
Something needs to happen, and hopefully it happens soon before more people like the poor woman who took her life.
Yes. Anyway, I'm tired of serious talk. Let's have an air horn break. And a sad trombone. And a ballpark noise. That one's for the Americans out there.
There we go. Palate's been cleansed. So, let's talk about the main crux of this episode. Let's reboot ourselves.
I feel like I need to wash my hands.
Yeah, I know, right? I need to wash my brain after reading some of that fucking shit. Let's reboot ourselves. Let's reboot our minds, reboot our souls, reboot our bodies, positive energy, yada, yada, yada. Or not positive energy, depending on what we're going to be talking about, how bad these reboots
I've had an infinite crisis!
Oh,
no! Reboots. They happen. Okay.
What is a reboot, Ian?
All right. So this actually ties into one other piece of news that happened this week. Dan Didio, former head of DC Publishing, had a whole plan laid out at the end of 2019 for a DC line-wide soft reboot, let's call almost a time jump, called 5G. Definitely not piggybacking on cell phone companies putting out their 5G coverage. Totally not at all.
Of course not.
With that, he had sorted out a surprisingly, and look, I don't love everything Dan Didio does, but he had sorted out a surprisingly straightforward and I think sensible timeline for the DC universe that previously we'd seen snapshots of, but we hadn't seen the whole thing. So finally, that timeline is revealed to the public, along with, let's see here. I thought I put the 5G stuff on the stuff.
I don't think you did.
I thought I did. Oh yeah, I did. Right there.
There? Nice.
It's only a link. All right. Let's take a look here. So for the first time, the full DC Comics timeline planned by Dan Didio. Thanks to Bleeding Cool, who I'm not always a fan of. Rich Johnston can be a bit of a dick, but this is fine. So we have a whole 5-generation timeline, hence why 5G, right? And it kind of covers everything. It goes from the first generation being the debut of Superman, year one, generation 1, 1938, Krypton explodes, rocket crashes in Smallville, 25-year-old Ma Kent and Pa Kent finds Clark.
So this is obviously to do with after Dr. Manhattan and stuff resets the timeline at the end of Doomsday Clock, which is in itself is another reboot.
I definitely feel like there was some friction between the Doomsday Clock ended up being kind of a fart in the wind. Very cool book, but didn't really have any.
I seriously, it was supposed to take a year, and it took almost closer to 3.
It took about 2 years. If you average it out, it's basically one issue for every 2 months, which is not the worst release schedule I've ever seen. Looking at you, All-Star Batman and the Boy Wonder. But everything kind of went to shit during reboot. Fuck, man.
During reboot.
Everything went to shit during reboot. Everything went to shit during Rebirth. That was spearheaded by Jeff Johns, who then left his position in the company. Scott Snyder kind of took up the reins. Dan Didio had some saying things, and we kind of went from Jeff Johns steering everything with Doomsday Clock to Scott Snyder kind of steering everything with Death Metal. I'll tell you which one I would have preferred. It's Doomsday Clock, whatever, that's fine. Scott Snyder still found a way to kind of work that in with Death Metal, which is fair enough. So we got Generation 1, that's kind of your golden age. We've got Generation 2, which is
Silver Age, right?
That is kind of our Silver Age. We've got our 1965. We got Batman debuts, year 1, Superman debuts, LexCorp founded, Bruce is 22, Alfred is 39.
So this basically it takes all the reboots and stuff like that and puts them into one concise timeline.
Yes.
It acknowledges all the previous ones.
The really interesting thing I think about it is he's kind of violated the cardinal rule in comic book timelines, and he has given the characters specific ages at every point in this timeline. Yeah. You'll notice Marvel never does that because they have that kind of
rolling timeline.
Yeah, up until Secret Wars, which we'll talk about. So we've got specific things like, when Batman and Superman debut in the Silver Age, Bruce is 22, Clark is 25, Ma and Pa Kent are both 50, Luthor is 25, Commissioner Gordon is 37, Perry White is 39, Jimmy Olsen is 15, Jay Garrick is 51.
You got Ra's al Ghul and Tyler debut, Zatanna joins the JLA in 75 or whatever it is. That's Generation 2 is 18.
Generation 2, Ra's al Ghul, Talia is 18, which would make her significantly younger than Bruce Wayne.
Is that Arthur Curry's 26?
I think that's what it's saying, yeah. Barry is 25, Dick Grayson. So Crisis on Two Worlds, that's our first Crisis.
Yeah.
JSA Returns. We've got all of that rolling into Crisis on Infinite Earths.
So the thing about this is I like this because it acknowledges the past stuff. It seems insane, but I like the idea of it being one singular timeline where everything happens. It gives clarity, arguably.
It definitely does. It has a Grant Morrisonian quality to it.
Yeah.
Very similar to what Grant Morrison did with his Batman run, where if you listen to his interviews with Kevin Smith, he kind of lays it all out where he looks at it and he goes, everything's canon. I'm not gonna do. I shame myself doing a Grant Morrison impression on a podcast run by Scots. All right.
Yep.
But he said everything's canon. Like he starts out and he's this Dark Avenger. And he has, he meets this kid and he finds a kindred spirit and, kind of a best friend almost. Not exactly a son, but this other.
So here's the thing about this. Not to cut you off, but just I noticed here is 2012, year 57, Justice League. Bruce is 52.
Yeah.
Damian is 14.
Yeah. Hey, Massimo. Hey.
What?
How old is Alfred?
69.
Nice.
Yeah, but that only makes Alfred fucking 17 years older than Bruce Wayne?
Yes, it makes 22-year-old Bruce Wayne, 39-year-old Alfred, definitely much younger than I imagine Alfred ever being. But at the same time, if they're going to have that timeline, they kind of have to do that with Gordon and Alfred, or else they would be fucking dead.
But Bruce is like in his 50s.
Yes. I mean,
allegedly by 2015, 2016, and after Flashpoint generation.
Look, man. Jared Leto is 49. Think what you will about Jared Leto. Dude is ripped. I'm okay with it. We're talking about Bruce Wayne here, who would have the best medical coverage.
I thought, but still, 52 seems like, I know obviously still
the best food, the best nutrition. I think dude would still be rocking it at 52. Yeah, I think that's entirely possible.
Dude's had his back broken, goes out every night.
Massimo, let me give you 2 words.
Go for it.
Comic books.
There we go. I knew it was going to be that. No, you're right.
Man flies through the sky, but green rock make him sick.
Look, all right. Look, it's quite an interesting plan.
What's really interesting is where it was all going to go with 5G.
All the stuff with Damien and John, stuff like that. Yeah. Yes.
So what was going to happen is they were going to age everyone up in real time, and let's see where there was a whole separate news story for it. But basically,
I've got it in front of me. Yeah.
What they were going to do is they were going to have Damian Wayne take over for Ra's al Ghul and be the big bad of 5G.
And who was it? It was one of the Foxes was going to be
Luke Fox, I think, instead of Tim Fox.
Yes.
So Luke Fox was going to return to that role. He was previously Batwing in the New 52.
Be a new version of Batman.
And is currently Batwing in the Batwoman TV show that I haven't watched any of.
Yep, same.
John Kent was going to take over, of course, for his father. Of course, Superman was going to form a new version of the Authority and become something of an authoritarian figure, which we are seeing a version of that in Grant Morrison's The Authority series. We're still seeing shades of this being introduced in the Infinite Frontier stuff that's coming out, which can do.
But I think the way they were going to do it with Dan Didio was the wrong way to go about it, personally.
Well, clearly, because they fucking shit-canned him.
Yeah, but I feel like as well though is that like the characters of Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne really should be engineered already at maybe a slightly younger audience. Like it's a pre-built-in thing to draw a younger view.
Super Sons was great.
Yeah, Super Sons. So
I will never forgive Brian Bendis for just completely obliterating everything that Peter Tomasi did with the Superman family.
That was when they combined the two Supermen into one and all that stuff. And
Tomasi was, Superman Reborn and the Oz Effect.
Oh, some great stuff there, by the way.
And then Brian Bendis came, as they said. He came all over everything.
Yep, and completely shit the bed with it.
And he's like, Jor-El, fuck him. John Kent, 15 now. Gonna take him to space. Gonna bring him back. Time jump.
Space John Kent. Spaceman.
Which, I mean, they're contending with it now. We've got
23-year-old John Kent now, haven't we? Like, currently in canon.
I don't think he's that old in canon right now, but he's definitely older.
Because he's back from the future.
He is, but I think he was like 11 when he went to the future. He's like 15 now.
So, apparently, according to Didio's timeline, 2019, year 6, the year of the villain, death metal. John returns from future, aged 23.
All right, well, this shit isn't canon anymore, so who cares?
Yeah, but it must have been when they first
But
did
it was
it.
planned, yes.
So, yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
fine.
So if we're going by the current rules of the stuff, like he would technically, because he still exists.
Well, then it's
version.
weird that he's still best friends with 15-year-old Damian Wayne. You know what my biggest problem with this whole Damian is the big bad, John, blah 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 thing is? It's so boring that it's just continuing your typical Batman versus Superman conflict. I'm so tired of that shit.
We just need to go back to normal, just back to the original.
Have a Flash be the big bad.
Exactly. Why not?
Have Wally Wet. No, we did that. Never mind.
No. We don't talk about the weird Wally West shit. Just
God damn it, Tom King.
Exactly. Let's not talk about Tom King's Flash.
Have a Green Lantern be the. Oh wait, no.
Oh wait, no.
Hang on. Have Wonder. No. Injustice happened.
Yeah.
So hey, you know what? That sounds like it was going to be a terrible soft reboot, but hey, you know what? Sometimes reboots are good.
Such as.
And so this week we wanted to talk about reboots that we like, and I'm keeping the conditions for what is a reboot real loose. Yeah. The only thing I'm not counting is like Elseworld stuff, because that really is a sidestep. It's a standalone, like, here's this thing.
Yeah.
But something like the Ultimate Universe, I would definitely consider a reboot. Granted, it's a reboot while the mainline universe still existed, but it was still the idea of we're going to take these characters in these stories and we're going to start them over from ground zero, and we're going to reimagine them for what was at the time a modern age.
Yeah.
And it was mostly cool.
I mean, for the most part, up until Ultimatum or Ultimates or what the fuck ever that shit happened.
Ultimatum was... So the thing about Ultimates, and the reason I love it, is Ultimates was always meant to be a parody. It was always meant to be a pastiche of post 9/11 ultra jingoistic America. Like, you're not supposed to look at
Captain America and be like, this is the man.
Alcoholic Tony Stark and be like, that's the dude. Or look at,
weird, incestuous.
Yeah, weird, incestuous Scarlet Witch and Pietro and be like, that's hot. Or look at
shrinking, jumping in vagina.
Realistic. Ant-Man has always been a wife beater in every continuity. So, I mean, that's kind of...
accidentally, apparently, as well. One of those weird things.
Yeah, whatevs. He's the Sean Connery of the Marvel universe, of the Marvel multiverse.
Apparently, accidentally was...
If he's going to slap his wife, he's going to slap his wife. There's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot wrong with it.
Exactly. No to misses.
That is the one thing I will say about the Ultimates is they actually portrayed what he did as a horrible terrible
thing,
horrific thing, instead of it just being like, haha, remember that time that Hank Pym slapped his wife?
Also, Black Widow being a turncoat, pretty cool. Right. Makes sense. Pretty good. Hawkeye family all dead. Pretty solid ideas.
Yeah, and then
also really good.
Tony Stark being the Batman level of preparedness he is, paralyzed her with some nanomachines, and then Clint Barton shot her in the fucking face, which was deserved.
Look, some of it wasn't good, but some of it pretty fucking cool.
Ultimate X-Men was really good. Ultimate Fantastic Four technically still is going. The Maker is a major player. Evil Reed Richards, for those not keeping score.
You know what? Speaking of the Maker and Evil Reed Richards, that leads into my favorite reboot.
Ooh, tell me.
It's obviously got to be Secret Wars.
Dude,
pretty good.
Secret Wars was pretty dope.
Pretty good.
The first time that Marvel has had the balls to do they did Convergence better.
Yeah, it works. It works so well. The idea is World Universe, and then it's the final two versions of it's Earth 6010, I believe, is what the Ultimate Universe is, and Earth 616, which is the main MCU. It's what would make sense in a Crisis on Infinite Earth is if the two smartest men in the universe, their respective universes, contacted each other and were like, okay, we need to do something to fix this, I guess, in the sense of the Maker.
No, you could end up with Secret Wars, or you could end up with the finale of Loki.
Exactly. So, the best thing about it was that the idea that, other than DC's umpteen number of crises, however the fucking you want to say it, they actually tried to accept them.
6.
Yeah, they try to take precautions to actually make it like, okay, we're gonna have this plan in place to do this stuff. We've got the arc that if or whatever it was called, I can't remember the name of the device. It's been a while since it's a thing that they got on, and there was a bunch of people who survived the multiverse.
Yeah, I think they did just call it an arc.
Whatever it was called, the arc. And then you realize, oh, Doctor Doom is still a bad guy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Also,
you just given him the ability to.
He made your family think that they're his family. And
yeah, and then
what was it? The Molecule Man was basically
Man.
like remaking reality and starving.
Was it my favorite thing? Was who's it? Is it Miles Morales?
Miles Morales gives him an old cheeseburger from his pocket, and
he's like, "Oh, I won't forget this."
First of all, your suit has pockets,
right?
Which I think was Peter's reaction.
Yeah, which makes sense because he's a new better Spider-Man. He would definitely have pockets.
Second of all, how old is that cheeseburger, and why are you still hanging on to it? It's gross.
It survived the multiversal reboot. Like the particles are different, etc.
I mean, the Marvel universe basically is the entire current Marvel continuity is owed to that cheeseburger.
Yeah, and also Miles Morales having all of his family back.
Yes,
because the Molecule was like, well, I guess I gotta restore this.
Yeah, I mean the Secret Wars initially kind of did a Crisis on Infinite Earths things where it consolidated everything down to a singular Marvel universe.
One of my
except for since then, the Ultimate Universe actually has come back.
That was in the Spider-Man, right?
Yes.
Spider-Man book at the end of that, where there's the other version of Miles Morales.
Yeah, so they did Spider-Man 2. And then the maker has also been searching for his original universe, which was kind of the crux of the recent Venom series with Nolan and all that.
Yeah. Like so I think they're hinting at it that they're going to bring it back in some capacities as a larger thing.
Will we have a reboot of the rebooted universe?
Woo! One of my favorite books to come out of Secret Wars was the old Man Logan stuff.
Yeah.
Because he was a man out of time.
Yes, that was the other cool thing is all of the they really Secret Wars really was basically Marvel being like Convergence, hold my beer.
Yeah. Oh man,
so because they did the same shit, put a bunch of continuities together on a singular world, and then have a bunch of offshoot books from older series and continuities that people liked, like Age of Apocalypse, and the '90s X-Men cartoon. Yeah. And a bunch of One More Day or like MC2 or whatever.
MC2 was great, yeah.
Talking about another reboot.
Yeah. Like, it just did everything right. And although it's kind of forward and recently with Marvel and all the umpteen number of X-Men books and all that stuff and all the shit that's happening with... They've kind of now ripped the piss with their events at this point. There's a new event every...
Marvel has been the event company for like basically since Civil War.
Yeah, but I feel like Secret Wars was a step in the right direction and realigned their company to actually do better, and it worked. It worked really well.
The thing I liked about Secret Wars, and I think any sort of crisis event like that, they found a perfect balance between it being fan servicey as hell.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got the Ultimate characters going up against the 616 characters.
Yeah, we had all the villains who were all safe on the arc, like Thanos,
Thor Corps.
Thor Corps was great. Doctor Strange being like the Infinity Gauntlet, Black Panther with the dead.
Yes.
Yeah, fucking so cool. Sticks out in my head, that comic panel.
Miles being brought into the mainline universe, but at the same time,
remembering everything.
Also, a good story.
Yeah.
And that is where Convergence failed miserably.
It wasn't just fan service, here's all these characters you love and love to look at. Oh, here's a interesting, funny rabbit character. No, it was characters with these...
Hey.
Captain Carrot, I know.
Do not talk shit on Captain Carrot.
I know.
So that was Multiversity, which is good.
No, Multiversity is good, but I think he also did appear in Convergence, I believe, for a few
Maybe,
panels.
yeah. They kind of came out at the same time.
But Future State and shit like that,
I mean... Convergence failed because there was a lot of cool shit in Convergence. A lot of those side books, a lot of those tie-ins were really good.
Poor Teddy.
That's Future's End.
Oh,
that's a different thing.
No, wait, that happened before Convergence, right?
They happened at about the same time, and they were
both
terrible.
Yeah, because my brain was
both completely meaningless and had the only effect that either of them had is Convergence brought back the original Superman.
Yeah.
And that's a mess. And then Future's End brought us Tim Drake, Batman Beyond, and killed Terry, which I'm pretty sure Terry's back. So
like we don't really talk about. I think DC even could have rolled over and talk about stuff, but we're talking about good reboots.
DC was such a quagmire during that time period because Convergence just existed as a holdover while they moved from the East Coast to the West Coast. Future's End was like when Future State came out, I was like, oh, so it's Future's End all over again, because it's like, hey, here's things in 5 years that aren't actually going to happen. And the Superman thing was like, okay, well, turns out Superman was in the New 52 universe the whole time hiding, and he takes over for New 52 Superman. Oops, turns out it was always the same universe, and Superman was split into two beings by Dr. Manhattan, but we're never going to fucking explain why, because Doomsday Clock didn't really get to explain.
Look, it just... look, if we could...
Good reboots. Good reboots.
Manifest good reboots. So what's one of your favorite ones?
Oh, man. I don't know if it really count as a reboot, kind of a soft reboot. The Punisher Max series.
Yeah, Garth Ennis's Punisher Max
was a fantastic comic book, kind of almost ultimate type of reboot. Not exactly Marvel Knights, but it gave you a hard edge version of Frank Castle that he's not a good person.
Not good dude. Just a kill. Well, he's not kill happy. He's kill happy for reasonable reasons. Like his whole family gets murdered, etc., goes on a wave against crime, brutality.
I'd say he's pretty kill happy.
He's pretty kill happy. Very good.
I definitely enjoyed that. I think one of the obvious ones is the Chris Nolan Batman films.
Oh, of course, yeah.
After the travesty that was late 90s Batman movies, Batman Begins is first of all underrated. I talked about that months and months ago. My feelings on Batman Begins and the fact that it is actually the best Batman film.
Of course,
not the best of that trilogy as a film, but the best Batman film.
Yeah, like Dark Knight is phenomenally shot, is like a phenomenal. So if you know when it's seen anything Batman related,
but also I goddamn hate Batman himself in that movie.
Yeah,
he's just so whiny. Rachel. Like the Batman I know doesn't just quit for 8 years when someone close to him dies. He fucking doubles down and
gets on with it. Fucking every version of you fucking seen what happened when fucking people die. He fucking builds massive bat suits. He fucking goes down, explores new elements and shit like that.
That's when you get a lonely place. You don't get the Dark Knight Rises. You get a lonely place of dying. Like,
man, you know,
Batman gets extra fucking out there.
Like we love Batman here, and that is a great Batman film, a great Batman reboot.
Yeah,
but
especially in the context of following up with what everyone thought was a dead franchise after Batman and Robin, Batman Begins was incredible.
Exactly. It makes sense. It brings a fresh, new, modern take to the character and actually makes him seem good.
A perfect reintroduction of the character to a post-millennial audience that still holds up to this day, despite it being a 16-year-old movie. So, it is older now than Batman and Robin was when it came out.
So speaking of great reintroductions to characters that basically defined a pop culture version of that character for the next 20 or so years.
Yeah.
The MCU.
Yeah.
The biggest and best reboot of all time.
You know what? I had not thought of that.
The biggest and best reboot of all time. Especially Iron Man in particular, basically.
Oh, yeah. Especially with how much from the MCU they kind of adopted into the comics. Yeah. I think that's what really solidifies it as a reboot. But there are reboots within that reboot. Spider-Man got rebooted.
Yeah. We're seeing X-Men as well going to get rebooted.
Fantastic Four.
This is what I'm talking about, is that like
Captain America got rebooted. If you consider the movie where he wears a helmet and drives a motorcycle and isn't really Captain America at all.
This is the thing, is that people, you could probably say the MCU isn't a reboot, but in my eyes it is, because it basically rebooted these characters to a point where they, like Iron Man especially, favorite fucking MCU film of all time. I gush over how good that film is.
I love Iron Man.
It's so well well shot, well made, well everything. And obviously, Iron Man, great film. Iron Man 2, not so much. Pseudo interference, etc., etc. There's actually a really good video about the side tangent. The video, the movie called Chef with Jon Favreau.
Mm-hmm.
That's made by one of the editors of the Weekly Planet, the Mr. Sunday movies. A guy called Ben called Canada, and he talked about how Jon Favreau made Chef as a reflection of his experiences in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
And that whole film was about that. And the fact that the MCU overall is such an impactful thing for a lot of people's lives and also filmmakers as well, that there's a film about someone's experience or an allegory about that, shows how powerful it is as a reboot, in my opinion.
And I think you could easily argue that it's an adaptation, right? I think what makes it a reboot is the fact that so many of the elements from it have been adopted into the comics. Like the comic book version of Tony Stark, go read Civil War. That's not Robert Downey Jr. The current, the modern version of Tony Stark in the comics is 100%.
Oh, Robert RDJ, yeah.
Completely based on that character.
Same as even, like you go and you look at Cap as well. Same thing, very similar to Hemsworth's version of Cap. I feel like Cap across the board pretty standard, but very similar thing. Star-Lord, for fuck's sake.
Oh yeah,
there's the big one. Fucking
Guardians I think maybe are the biggest ones impacted by the MCU. To be honest, even
reboot after that.
Even comic book fans didn't really fuck with the Guardians before that movie came out. I didn't.
They do. Everyone fucks with the Guardians.
I fucks with them.
We fucks with them.
I like how we just completely dropped the whole no saying the fuck word on this show.
Oh man, look, nobody watches this, as we already established. The 20 people who watch this will love us saying the F word. See, I didn't say it there.
It's because we're extreme. It's because we're way too cool. I'm gonna drink my Kool-Aid. Wait, no. Capri Sun.
So I feel like, in general, when it comes to reboots, a reboot is a lot of things to many people. It could be a completely redo of the universe. It could be an adaptation, or like many things, it could be something that happens every few years to basically boost comic sales.
Yeah, it could be something that happens when you're creatively bankrupt. You got your hard reboots, your new 52s, right? You got your soft reboots, your Force Awakens. That's really the two kind of reboots.
Yeah, I think honestly, although this was the kind of topic of the episode and we talked about, I think reboots are good sometimes.
I think they can be. It was a really good soft reboots within existing continuity, right? Jeff Johns' Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Bringing back maybe an example of what I might call perfect retconning. Bringing back Hal Jordan, explaining away Parallax as the imperfection in the ring, the creature that characterizes the fear element, instead of just being, Hal Jordan went crazy because it's the 90s.
It's pretty solid.
And then he built everything in Green Lantern these days is based on the stepping stones that Jeff Johns laid down over the course of the Return of Hal Jordan, Blackest Night, Brightest Day, the Sinestro Corps War. He built an entire mythology out of what was kind of a hokey ass character.
Exactly. And overall, it served the character better especially for years to come, and different viewers and different readers and different interpretations of that character.
Yeah, now we've got more fucking Green Lanterns than you can shake a stick at. But hey, we got Lady Green Lantern, we got Muslim Green Lantern, we got Teenage Green Lantern. Whoever you are, we got a Green Lantern for you. Why does Earth have so many Green Lanterns? I don't know, bro.
Because who the fuck cares what you are, what sexuality, what race you are? Everyone could be a fucking Green Lantern if they have the willpower.
Yeah, you just have to conquer fear.
Exactly. And that's what people can do.
Also, shit's always popping off on Earth, so it makes sense that we have multiple Green Lanterns.
I was going to say, we're the epicenter of the universe for evil shit happening all the time.
Absolutely. In every universe.
In every universe. The time. Including this one.
A less talked about again, DC, and actually kind of neighbor to Hal Jordan himself. Another kind of soft character reboot that I really like is when Kevin Smith brought Oliver Queen back from the dead.
Yeah. That was after Blackest Night, right? Am I wrong?
No, it was before. It was early 2000s. It was
Oh,
before. It was before Jeff Johns brought back Hal Jordan, because Hal Jordan as the Spectre actually makes an appearance in that story.
Yep.
And Oliver is like, "So when you come back from the dead?" And Hal's like, "I don't know. Eventually, maybe soon, probably."
Comic books.
But Oliver Queen had been dead. He had died pretty soon after Final Night. He had died about the same time that Hal Jordan did.
Yeah, because he shot Hal Jordan in the chest.
He did. And then he got exploded in a plane.
Yes.
Right. So Hal Jordan, another example of the perfect retcon is, Oliver Queen had been this gritty, dark character towards the end of the 80s and the 90s, thanks to Longbow Hunters and Mike Grell's run on Oliver, which is great. If you want to read Green Arrow and you don't want to read like hokey,
cocky,
silly hat, which, don't get me wrong, Hard Traveling Heroes, fantastic, really enjoyable. But if you want to read some darker Green Arrow, maybe if you were introduced via the Arrow TV show, you want something a little closer to that tone, but without Felicity ruining it. The actress is a wonderful person. I just don't like the character. I want to make that really clear. Longbow Hunters, fantastic. Anyways, he died, and Kevin Smith is like, I'm going to bring him back. And so he brings back Oliver Queen, but it's like Hal Jordan brings his body back via like microscopic specks of his essence on Superman's suit, because Superman was there when he exploded, which is gross, because wash your costume, Clark.
They don't wash Superman's costume.
I don't think Superman sweats. So
that's like in comic thing, is that the costumes made of Kryptonian fibers that just clean themselves.
Well, then there still wouldn't be dead Oliver Queen. Whatever, it's fine.
Anyway, Essence, go.
So he comes back, and like it's Oliver Queen with all of his memories up till right before Longbow Hunters. So he's like jovial and just like horrified that fucking Aquaman almost kills Black Manta, and then it turns out that it's like his body with like no soul, and his soul is still up in heaven, and they go meet that Oliver, and they merge at the end, and it's almost like the Superman Reborn thing. It was just a really good way to bring Oliver Queen back and kind of give him those elements of kind of the darker Green Arrow, but also sort of the lighter, like social justice, jackboot thugs, Oliver Queen of the 70s.
I feel like characters addressing their roots like that is always nice, though, and I feel like a lot of characters have kind of lost that. Have it through various reboots and various reasons, and I feel like doing that for a character, it's pretty good.
Yeah, exact opposite of that. New 52 Superman.
Yeah.
Grant Morrison's Action Comics was actually pretty okay, but like,
I think the issue with that though is that because it's two comics that are about the same character, but they're written by two different people and running simultaneously, you end up having two different takes of the same character.
Right.
Which means that Superman has been exposed to some weird ass kryptonite.
Which, hey, speaking of good reboots, DC kind of solved that problem with the recent Infinite Frontier initiative, where after Death Metal, the universe was kind of soft rebooted, I guess. I don't think it's really a hard reboot, but now like
it just reintroduced more elements that were there previous that people
multiverse, dog. Everything's a multiverse now.
Obviously, there's the stuff with Static Shock, which is its own separate universe. That's I can't remember what it's called.
Milestone.
The Milestone universe, the Milestone universe,
DC was like, hey, what if we just have the characters acknowledge that they know there's a multiverse, and they travel the multiverse and they communicate with other universes, and we just open that bad boy up. And I'm into it, because then you can have Grant Morrison's The Authority, you can have your DC Future State, you can have whatever you want, and just be like, yeah, it takes place over here in Earth
X117
65, or I don't think there's still 52 Earths. I think we're back to Infinite Earths.
Yeah, that's good,
because Infinite Frontier. I love that idea. That is, I love it reminds me of Marvel Now.
When they brought that back in the day, that was
which was that came out in 2012. It was kind of Marvel's answer to the New 52, except again, Marvel doesn't do hard reboots, with the exception of right after Secret Wars, which you could still argue is a soft reboot, because they didn't like.
A bunch of characters retain their memories.
Yeah, they didn't act like it wasn't a start from zero. It was hey, we're going to pick up where we left off, but like we've changed some things. Marvel Now was a soft reboot where we ended up with things like the Superior Spider-Man. That's where we got the Dr. Octopus in Peter Parker's brain, which was really interesting. As I understand it, he is recently back to just being Dr. Octopus, which I find kind of disappointing.
And a younger body, though.
Yep.
Clone body.
That's where we get Cyclops being kind of a dick with the X-Men, leading to Avengers versus X-Men.
That's when Red Skull steals Professor X's brain, I believe.
That's when we got Red Onslaught.
Yep.
Which wasn't so great. That's how they introduced Black Nick Fury. They reintroduced Cable. We got the black and gold Iron Man, which, by the way, I still think the Marvel Now Iron Man suit looks dope. And I would have loved to have seen the black and gold Iron Man with the red lights in the MCU.
Still could happen, though.
Oh, that would have looked sick.
I think
Unworthy Thor.
I think there's so many good things that came out of that run. And I think that's the main thing that we probably should address here when we're talking about reboots, is that when we talk reboots, is that there are good things and bad things that come out of this.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, people can take those bad things, those bad, shitty concepts of ideas, and actually turn them into good things.
Yeah.
Especially in the world of the multiverse, which we love.
Oh, there's so much.
There's so many. There's too many. There's too many good things.
Well, then, even, the New 52, like, people love to shit on it, but
I love some of the concepts in that. Like, Shazam,
great stuff. Scott Snyder's Batman obviously was fantastic. Also, didn't really reboot jack shit, but fantastic.
Action Comics. I like the Flash run as well around that time as well. Pretty good. Look,
the Flash run had, first of all, parts of that were definitely the inspiration for the TV show. But
definitely.
You also had some really interesting reinterpretations of previous Flash villains, like the New 52 Reverse Flash. The way they ended up dealing with him, where it's the same Reverse Flash, he's just been altered by the timeline, was kind of like, yeah, all right. He ends up getting his memories back, and he's just like traumatized by being killed in Flashpoint.
By Batman, stabbed in the back by Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, I love that. Green Lantern didn't really get rebooted, but Cyborg kind of got rebooted, and now he's a much more mainline player in the DC universe. Wonder Woman got rebooted. Superman,
Aquaman had the Aquaman in the Deep and stuff like that.
Yeah. A lot of stuff that has inspired kind of where things still are with those characters.
Yeah. I think, overall, New 52, I would actually rate some of it. I don't think it wasn't a perfect reboot, but it was still pretty good.
It was definitely a reboot that was constructed without any forethought whatsoever.
Much like this podcast.
At the 11th hour. Yeah, absolutely. And much like the New 52, some parts of this podcast are good, and some parts are going to make me cringe when I go back and listen to it.
So, with that being said, I feel like we've talked a lot about reboots and stuff like that over the course of 35 minutes, and then some with the news. If you liked some parts of this podcast, what should they do, Ian?
Well, first of all, go ahead and leave a like. If you like reboots, you should like our reboot.
Exactly. This episode 0, baby.
Give us a thumbs up on leave a like, maybe leave a subscribe, maybe leave a review if you're on the Spotify's, and you can find back episodes on YouTube under BGCP Comic Con. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook under BGCP Comic Con.
I believe we're BGCP Comic Con or Big Glasgow Comic Page across the board. Just look for Big Glasgow Comic Page.
My brain went faster than my mouth did. Also, there's a website, bigglasgowcomicpage.com or .co.uk. I don't know. It's one
.com.
of those.
It's .com.
It's .com. I bet .co.uk works too. I would be willing to bet.
Exactly. It's where you can find the latest news, reviews, and occasionally interviews.
Sometimes. I hear you'll get back to that someday.
I hear I will get back to that someday.
I hear they're making a new one.
We're gonna
reboot Massimo interviews, and
exactly.
They're gonna be called Massimo's Fireside Chitty Chats.
Exactly, yeah. Fireside Chats with the Mo.
Massimo Dog Talk by the we need to stop.
Please stop.
I'm
Please
gonna play
stop.
the outro track.
Jesus
Thanks
Christ.
for joining us for a podcast, and we'll be back next week.
This is what this was. We're done.
Dan is back next week. Dan is back
Yeah.
next week.
Done, back. I think. I hope.
Extreme.